Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
The friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality. Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. We were off for a week, but we are back, and we're going to be back strong with special guest Patrick Horvath. You know him from Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees, and he's back with more of that and other incredible things, so stay tuned for that interview while we talk about the incredible comics that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, March 3rd. We have a ton to talk about. It is going to be a big show and a lot of fun. So thank you for joining us once again.
Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
And a reminder, this week we're going over books that are on Final Order Cutoff Monday, March 3rd. Yes, we're already entering March. It's crazy because this year is moving fast, and yet in the same, it feels we're 8 months in already. Talk about an insane year in comics, right, Kyle?
It really has been. I mean, there's been so much change and so much upheaval, but also there's been so much great stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it has been one of the best years of comics releases that we've had in a long time, despite all of the madness that is every other part of this business.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird how I can both be fearing the future of a 2025 without Diamond, but in the same, I'm super excited about a 2025 that will introduce a new Marvel and DC crossover. How do we get to just like both two sides of the coin at the same time?
Well, and we get Fraction on Batman and Zdarsky on Captain America. Like, these are things that, like, as a retailer, I'm excited about. As a reader, I'm excited about. And as a fan of dudes with kind of messed up points of view, telling stories about people with kind of messed up points of view, I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever foreseen a future where the creative team of Image Comics Sex Criminals was going to be the people leading the two biggest heroes at Marvel and DC.
Correct.
But we also just came back from Comics Pro. Unfortunately, while that is an amazing gathering and was brilliant, it also is a gathering of all sorts of international comic retailers, publishers, and creators. And we all walked away with an extra gift, not just some amazing incentive variants. We all walked away with a bit of a cold. So this week, we're going to be, you might see a few more commercial breaks as we constantly go and get more caffeine, coffee, tea, and other things to make sure we can continue talking for this, because this is a big FOC, isn't it?
It's huge. And as I sit here and take my antibiotics that I have to take because I went to Comics Pro, not because I did anything untoward, but because we have international bugs that come with us. I am very excited for this week. I'm very excited for the normalcy of this week. But I'm very excited for some of the really interesting books that are on FOC this week as well.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be beyond excited in about an hour to talk with our guest, Patrick Horvath, about his awesome upcoming projects. I just got to read one of them that is on FOC this week, so we'll be discussing all that. But I guess we should kind of dive into things, right?
Yes.
All right, let's start it off. We go and view our FOC items on two different websites that you guys have access to as well. Previewsworld.com/finalordersdue is going to be where you can see everything from Image, Marvel, Dark Horse, Boom, Dynamite, etc. I made it go Boom before the Dynamite there. What can I say? But if you want to view DC, you're going to want to hop over to lunardistribution.com, and you'll be shown a website like this. You can scroll down a bit to upcoming FOC. Make sure your date is correctly clicked on the current date, March 3rd, 2025, so you can see everything there. The fun thing with Lunar now absorbing so many new publishers, you're going to see some crossover, and sometimes you might even see artwork that isn't always available on Previews World. But Previews World so far has still been a very reliable and great source, so we continue to use it because it is a wonderful catch-all for many publishers from many distributors. And as you can see, we are on March 3rd, 2025's FOC. Let's start it off with Image Comics. And the big one to start it off is the return of Bitter Root. And Kyle, you're a fan of Bitter Root, right?
I really was. I mean, maybe more than Bitter Root itself, I'm a fan of Rob Guillory.
Yes.
And the work that Rob did on this book in Volume 1 was phenomenal. So now you come around to Volume 2, and since that time, I've gotten to know David Walker and Chuck Brown. So it gives me a level of friendly relation to this book. But at the same time, this was a story that I really enjoyed the first several volumes of. And now that there's more coming, I'm excited to dive back into what the stories they're telling in this universe. And at the same time, one of the groups that I get to be involved with is a group called the BCU, the Black Comics Universe. And how important this book is to that community has a section of readers that I often find to be underserved super jazzed.
Yeah. I mean, I always loved Rob's covers on Bitter Root, and Sanford Green's interiors. Amazing, amazing pieces. So it's cool to see this back, because, I mean, it really is like a family of paranormal monster hunters giving that really, really great perspective while still giving some awesome stories. So, you know, I mean, I think that's one of the things that, no matter what people want to say, is a very common reality of comics, is there is, you know, a reality with some of the best literature in the world of having politics and social concepts hidden in amazing stories that work on their own. And this is something that does that. As we're going to be set in the height of the civil rights movement in the mid-1960s of America, you're still going to have the craziness of this family that hunts monsters and paranormal things.
Yeah, and like I said, it's the thing that I've been telling people even more lately than ever is when you find a reason to get into a comic, even if it is just, oh, hey, I like that cover artist, pick up the book because you never know what you might find yourself really enjoying. And that was the case with Bitter Root, right? Like I picked it up because I like Rob Guillory's art, but then I got to really enjoy the story. And you find out, oh, that this is this allegory for so much other stuff that it doesn't feel like it's beating you over the head with its politics, but at the same time, it feels like it's telling you a story you want to read.
Absolutely. Continuing on, and as always, we're only going to be able to talk about some of the height of this FOC, but you can view everything at previewsworld.com/final orders due. We have the penultimate issue of Gary Dugan's Dead Eyes, continuation of James Tynion's Department of Truth, and the incomparable Vecchio's Doll Parts, A Lovesick Tale, hitting its final issue. These have all been amazing, amazing books. I'll have to show off the Kyofi cover of this when we get over to Lunar. But one of the next big ones I want to talk about is Family Force V5. Family Force V, depending on how you pronounce it, but it's Family Force 5. This is Matt Braley's awesome new original graphic novel. And if you're familiar with the animation Amphibia that Matt Braley did, it was an awesome one. I got to watch it with my kid, and I think I enjoyed it just as much as my son did. But this is going to be very much in that vein of giant mech suits, kaiju fighting, Sentai warriors, but done, with a slightly Western style. I can't complain at that. I think that we are in a new era where everyone can love Sentai, kaiju, and giant mechs, and the fact that we're seeing it from either side of the Pacific has me excited. So all the more for a new graphic novel I can hand to people.
Just a small note, if you're of a certain age and were involved in a certain musical scene, this is not at all related to the band.
I didn't think about that, but yes, you're right. Another big one. Feral is back. Yes, the zombie story with kitties returns. Tony Fleeks, Trish Forster, Tone Rodriguez, everyone who brought you Stray Dogs continues on with the fun of Feral for its third story arc. And this time we're going to deal with a abandoned pet supply store to just give you a more haunting, like, I don't know, like an empty mall vibe. I doubt any zombie thing has ever dealt with an empty mall vibe. But really, really fun. I don't think that Tony has missed a beat. Tony or Trish and Tone have missed a single beat on this amazing series. It's solid. If you're not reading Feral, now's the time to pick up the 2 trade paperbacks that are out. It's haunting. It is amazing. If you love animals, this is going to put a little bit of fear in you because your love for the protection of these animals is going to be triggered. But that being said, it is amazing. I don't know, if you had to make a choice, Stray Dogs or Feral, where are you leaning, Kyle?
Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. Wow, I'm sorry, that's a cartoon-based one, but yes.
No, I'm just thinking Tony Fleece.
Yeah.
No, so I read Stray Dogs, and I'm part of that if the dog dies, we riot kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Feral hits me in a whole different way. And I really enjoy it, but I'm also sort of over the zombie thing. So like I have strongly mixed feelings that I don't know what to do with because I really enjoy the book. But I'm like, could it be aliens and not zombies, or vampires and not zombies, or I don't know. But no, the book itself has been great.
Yeah.
I just have,
Spoiler
like I
for
said,
everyone, by the way, it's rabies, not zombies.
well, okay, rabies, zombies, it's the same thing.
It really is. I
I
fear
mean,
the rabies spin-off that hits humans and we Walking Dead the real world.
well, I remember when my sister was in college and she got bit by a bat and like had to go through the whole rabies treatment. Like, it's one of those like it isn't that far off, man. Like too real, Tony, too real. But it's a like I said, I've enjoyed the book, but like on some level, for me, I need some new tropes, man. Just across
if you can get
everybody
bit
out
by
there in
a cat,
comics,
at least be
different
vampire.
tropes.
Tell you, if you're gonna be bit by a bat, it should be a vampirism.
It's true.
Yeah.
God,
All
that's
right.
wild.
Continuing on, like I said, there's a lot continuing on, a lot of books. Everything from G.I. Joe, which is continuing from the Marvel run and hitting 315 issues, to the final issue of Grommets, Gunslinger. We have Ghost Machine's Incredible Hornsby and Halo, which I believe I heard somebody say this weekend was Jeff John's favorite of the Ghost Machine books.
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can confirm.
Yeah. One I really enjoyed is Kids. This is going to be another one of the Garth Ennis one-shots with the new his new subdivision at Image Comics. I really enjoyed his last one-shot. I believe it's Ninth Circle is the name of the subdivision Image, but this one seems really haunting.
Ninth Circle is
parent.
Yes, Ninth Circle is Cullen and Joe Pruitt and a couple of others.
Yeah,
Garth and Joe Pruitt and a couple of others, I should say. Yeah, so that's a super fun imprint, and these one shots have been super fun. Some of these books are, I don't know if other people know, are books that were around back in the old days when they were both like kind of bouncing around with Caliber that never really became a thing. Right. They were they were left out of some of the anthologies or things that they had started working on but weren't ready, that over the years they've just sort of hemmed and hawed around and messed around with, and now they're finally ready to go. So some of these are books that they've been working on for years.
Decades, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I talked to Joe Pruitt a few months ago, and it didn't even connect. I did not realize that these are some of the same people who were working on those Incredible Caliber books. But you're right. It seems a little bit more on the nose obvious once you lay out the entire path for me.
Well, as maybe the resident Caliber expert on the experience, that's my job.
There you go. But yeah, so this should be a fun one for those of you guys who love Garth Ennis, obviously the co-creator of The Boys, which is coming up on its final season and having nothing but epic rave and review. Here is your chance at getting some more darkness from the mind of Garth Ennis. Let's see, what more do we have? Because it's quite a bit. We're getting new printings of Lucky Devils, the continuation of Monstrous, all sorts of fun. Knights, which is drawing a ton of attention with its new announcement of film rights having been picked up. Trade paperbacks for things like Rook Exodus and Saga, because we need our hearts broken more by those two amazing books. The one I want to dive into most, though, is our Universal Monsters. Obviously, Frankenstein fans, I know there's at least one person watching who's a huge Frankenstein fan. We have the hardcover collections that are amazing coming out. I really want to show off the direct market edition of that Frankenstein hardcover because, wow, Tedesco knocked that out of the park. If you talk to your stores, there might even be an option of getting signed book plates on Universal Monsters. So all the more reason you want to pre-order big with your store, get them their orders, is so they can reach certain qualifiers that would allow them things like signed book plates. But the part I am more excited about, because I've already read Universal Monsters, is the newest Universal Monster series, The Mummy. My favorite monster. Look, Dracula's cool. Frankenstein and his monster that we're going to call Frankenstein, okay. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, not bad. The Mummy is where it's at. I'm
Well,
sure
the nice thing about the Mummy is that if we ever have a toilet paper shortage again, you're not in bad shape.
he's the best ally in the pandemic. You're right. This is a fun one because Faith Aaron Hicks is writing and drawing. I think this is the first of the Universal Monsters where we're getting a shared writer and artist. Lee Lofridge doing his incredible coloring on this book. But I'm excited, whether it is the classic Universal Mummy films or just the concept of the character in general. I've always been a fan of Mummy, and some great covers. That's a good one. Why can't Mummy take a day off? Because they're afraid to unwind. Yeah, I mean, you could just become a bit of a mess at that point. But I'm excited about this. Faith Aaron Hicks has stolen my heart when she started doing the Avatar: The Last Airbender, taking over from Jean Luen Yang. And I am really hyped to see a dark, mature, Mummy, because every one of these Universal Monsters miniseries from Image has been great. The question will be when we get a Monster Mash that just has all of them together.
Did you know that the song The Monster Mash is not actually the song The Monster Mash? It is the song about watching people do the Monster Mash, which is another song earlier on the record.
Oh my. I'm going to admit my ignorance there.
Yeah, I didn't know that until last Halloween.
Well, thanks for informing. Yeah, that should be a good one. I think this will be really, really cool. I think the blanks on the Universal Monsters have been a really, really solid purchase. For if you're a comic shop looking to purchase, obviously a good one. If you are a customer looking to get order from your comic shop, I think these are just, I hate to steal the term and use it in a different way, but I think these are universal blanks because they can be applied to so many different things and so many different artists can work with these blanks. They're just good ones to have around.
Right. Nice thing about it's why I like the Universal Monsters. It's why I like some of like the Deadpool kills or Spawn kills blanks, right? You hand those to any artist and they can do whatever they want. They don't feel hemmed in by, oh, this is a Rocket Raccoon book. Now I have to draw Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
So they can really scratch an itch, and you tend to get really a lot better cover art. So yeah. I think they're a really smart buy in that regard. But I also think, by the way, everybody, like, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I like the Universal Monsters, but you've never really engaged with Universal Monsters, the run that Tinian has been doing with them, like this series and some of the other stuff that's been happening with Universal Monsters has been such a great introduction that I'm looking forward to being able to give them to my nephew in a couple of years and be like, you know how Uncle Kyle is a big fan of that dude with all the hair on his face? Here's this book.
It's good. I have a first for this show. This is the first time somebody has messaged me directly to my cell phone while we're live with a question related to it. But I like it. That's a whole new level. I do
get
have
in the chat whoever's on Mathias's cell phone.
Yeah, but I do have blanks of every single one of the Universal Monsters books. I gotta say, it's a good investment, and I love when you can like play a double entendre with the titles. Like my favorite was the Boom Magic the Gathering covers. I would get like Magic from the X-Men drawn on there, but I'm gonna order a Universal Monsters Mummy, and I'm gonna definitely have like a mom variant, some bad joke there. Like I'll get Sue Storm holding like Valeria or or Franklin on there.
The little boy with the gas mask from Doctor Who. Are you my mummy?
Yeah. Oh, good one. That
one's mine. You can't have it.
All right. Well, then you got to show it off on camera once you get that.
Oh, absolutely. But no, one of the ones that I had with the Dracula one is I had jam pieces done on it at a convention where it was everybody draw your favorite vampire. And the number of people who drew the Count from Sesame Street made my heart grow 3 sizes. Like that was just a fun way to take that book and just have a bunch of artists have fun with it drawing as many Draculas as you can on the cover.
Yeah, my Universal Monsters Dracula is my favorite one is Buffy staking Dracula.
Nice.
All right. Well, continuing on, Skybound, Energon Universe, Void Rivals, the start of the Energon Universe continues on with issue 18. But the big thing I want to talk about is the deluxe edition hardcovers. You're going to get the first several arcs combined in this $50 hardcover. Looks like it's going to have a nice shiny cover to it and everything. But I love that there are two versions. The mass market is going to get one of our main protagonists, Derek. But the mass market, you get Salil right there, as you can see. So you can choose which one you want. I'm going to be an idiot and buy this twice so I can have Derek and Salil. There's Derek right there. Awesome covers. I hate that they're doing this to me. Why couldn't this have been like volume 1 and then volume 2? No, they're going to do both covers on volume 1. But a great one that if you really want, you're a big fan of Salil, you're going to want the direct market. Obviously, you can only get that at your local comic shop. Derek, you can get everywhere. You can get both at your local comic shop, obviously. So let them know, especially if you're going to be an idiot like me and buy 2 copies of the same hardcover. I mean, do you have a choice? Which one are you going for? Like, I know the direct market is the rarer one, but which one are you going for, Kyle? Derek or Salil?
Both.
Both? Yeah, okay. We have the same problem.
Well, yes, but that's one of the other things that I do at my local comic shop that maybe I wouldn't suggest, but I would. When there's a direct market exclusive, buy both from your local comic shop and then read the mass market book. Read the one you can get everywhere and save your direct market exclusive because usually the covers are cooler. Usually they look a little bit better on a shelf, that kind of thing. So I'll buy both. One will go on the shelf and will live there, and the other one will be the one I read and loan out and gets beat up and whatever else.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're ever in that pinch for money, normally the direct markets are the ones that jump up in value. Like, we can always go back to Something Is Killing the Children, Volume 1 from Boom. That direct market exclusive is a triple figure trade paperback nowadays. So let's talk about the big ones. The end cap of Image this week are 2 huge new titles. First off, we're taking everyone down with us. This is Matthew Rosenberg's big new hit. Matthew Rosenberg, the guy who brought us things like Joker, DC versus Vampires, What's the Furthest Place from Here, and I guess 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, which is about to become a major feature film with Liam Neeson. We're Taking Everyone Down with Us is about a young girl whose father is the classic 1950s, 60s mad scientist. And he's going to war with one of those James Bond-esque organizations. Unfortunately, when that organization kills our protagonist's father, she decides she's going to take the entire world down with her. This feels like all of the goofiness and tropes of Venture Brothers that I love, with super intense John Wick insanity. It is amazing. It is funny. It is dark. It is everything I could ever want in a comic. And I love it. It's crazy because, speaking of coming out of Comics Pro, I didn't realize it at the time. I first read this a year ago at Comics Pro 2024 back in February. Matthew gave me a very early copy of the comic. And then I didn't realize it until after we interviewed him a few weeks ago, which, by the way, if you missed the interview where we talked about we're taking everyone down with us, that should be up on the Experience YouTube channel soon, right?
Yes.
So you'll be able to watch that and learn more, share it with your local comic shop, discover just how much you want it directly from Matthew's mouth. But this one's going to be huge. A lot of great covers. I am beyond excited about this.
Well, and shout out to Matt Rosenberg for giving everybody a free copy at Comics Pro and then giving us a beautiful variant at the party he threw, where he, unlike other people, understood what comics people want to eat and provided us free fried food.
You know, I hate to say I was late to that party. I didn't get the variant, didn't get the food. I just got to have the drinks and happiness that everyone else was enjoying at the end.
Yeah, no, the food was good.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a huge shout out to Matthew Rosenberg, James Tinian, Gary Dugan, everyone that put together the We Love Comics party. It is really crazy to see anyone put the recognition to comic retailers on what is done by them in the industry. Um, Not only are they the ones taking the brunt of finances because they're ordering comics with no returnability more often than not, they're the ones taking the stand on how books sell, and also then providing it for you guys, the consumers. So it's a thankless job. It really is. It's a high risk job. It's why you see some comic shops don't last, and those that do rarely are people who are rolling in money. You're never going to see a comic shop owner that becomes a millionaire or billionaire. You're never going to see a comic shop owner that becomes a billionaire, and it is highly unlikely you'll ever see a comic shop owner that becomes a millionaire. And if they do, it's probably because they won the lottery. Um, so a huge thanks for the recognition that some of those creators gave and throwing a party for them. And just that reminder, when you're giving your local comic shop your final order cutoff list and telling them, here's all the things I want, maybe a nice little thanks with them. Thanks for taking care of it. Thanks for always going out of your way and getting me the books that I want. Especially because most comic shops are going to put that money up front. They're paying the bill right off the bat and holding the books waiting for you to pick up your comics. So it's always a really, really awesome treat when anyone thanks a comic retailer. But we're taking everyone down with us. Cannot stress it enough. Amazing book. I think you're all going to love it. I had to show off the incredible Lotte cover because that was a new add-on this week. I will say this book is in our top 10 at the end of the week. Find out what cover and where it lands in a moment. But the next one I have to talk about is by another half of the creative team of Four Kids Walk Into a Bank, soon to have a Liam Neeson movie. It's Tyler Boss. Tyler Boss has a new book through Tiny Onion, which is James Tinian's incredible company, and it's called You'll Do Bad Things. You'll Do Bad Things is a dark horror in the giallo style of Italian cinema. It is, dark, filled with murder, sexual exploitation, violence, and it's got a strong personality to it because it is the story of an author who wrote a famous horror novel called He Came In With a Smile and has written nothing of success since. It has been 10 years since that incredible novel released, and his editor is breathing down his neck. When is the next book going to come in? Unfortunately, our protagonist, Seth Holmes, doesn't have a plan for it. He tries and tries to write, and nothing works because all he can write is darker and darker horror. Now, when that dark horror he is writing starts coming to truth and actually happening, the world becomes a notably darker place. Haunting concept, amazing piece. I feel Stephen King has had slightly similar concepts with like Secret Window, but visually, this is such an amazing comic.
Well, and this feels laid out for like a Guillermo del Toro or Denis Villeneuve or one of those kind of directors who can really kind of create that psychological paradox in film. It really feels laid out for them as a film study. So
Yeah.
I think that is a strong indicator of kind of what this book is meant to do. And like this cover, this is the one I ordered.
It's funny. Right before we jumped into this, I had a customer message me with a final order cutoff order for this cover as well.
Yeah, this is the cover I got. So like I said, I think it lends itself to, if you like the psychological horror films, if you like the Stephen King stuff, if you like the sort of I'm uncomfortable sitting in my chair style of Italian cinema, I think this really lends itself to that, and it can be a really fun way to experience it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to see Giallo, brought up in a comic solicit, very dark genre of Italian films. So exciting to actually see it though too. And the cool thing, if you like the idea of you'll do bad things and we're taking everyone down with us, I can say Tyler Boss and Matthew Rosenberg are about to do later this year a crazy continent-wide tour of various comic shops. So they will be announcing the shops that they will be signing at soon. It's going to be a really crazy tour, and it's all on Matthew and Tyler's dime. So a huge shout out to them once again for doing that, for not just retailers, but fans who are consumers. Check with your local comic shop in the months to follow as to whether or not they will be swinging by your store. It's going to have to be, they obviously can't tour several thousand stores across the country, but I think they're trying to do a really good spread of, different areas. So that's, once again, super awesome of them. They're amazing creators who truly care about this medium. So let's move on to Boom Studios. Now, for those of you who are retailers placing your orders between Diamond and Penguin Random House, there's only one Boom title on Penguin Random House's FOC this week. It is going to be the new Dune hardcover. However, these are still Diamond exclusive Final Order Cutoff items as we continue on the last books of March. We have Hello Darkness #9 with 4 incredible covers, everyone from Mercado to Frisson. I have to show off that Goni Montez. And it wasn't until I enlarged it that I realized this is the one phobia I have. I hate those holes in people. And this,
get it off my screen, man.
Yeah. I'm going to take it off. I give everyone that beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful, if I use my hand to cover the lower half of it, it's a beautiful Goni Montez piece. But this book also has everyone in it. Cena Grace, Robert Hack. I got to go back. Sorry. I have to click back on this. Carrie Randolph, Cullen Bunn, Joanne Sterer, Daniel Bayliss. This is an all-star cast of people doing haunting horror. And when the front cover is tripping my phobia to the point where I'm covering up the screen, it's already doing an amazing job. I love Hello Darkness. This has just been amazing. Keep in mind, we also have R.L. Stine in the interiors of this book. It's amazing. And it's one of the last weeks we're going to have Diamond exclusive Final Order Cutoff on a Boom book. Mind you, we're also wrapping up I Heart Skull Crusher and Red Before Black with their penultimate issues. So before we dive into the deep breath that is Marvel, I think we need to do a quick commercial break. But, a lot of fun so far, and we're barely started on this week's insane FOC. So let's do a quick commercial break, and we'll come back with some Marvel and indie stuff, and then hopefully we'll have Mr. Horvath with some haunting tales of a free-for-all and what else you might find beneath the trees.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience. Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So.
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of The Experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
All right, we're back with more comics on Final Order Cutoff for March 3rd, Monday, March 3rd. And as always, I want to remind you guys, when you see things that you want, when you're checking previewsworld.com/finalordersdue or lunardistribution.com, reach out to your local comic shop as soon as you can with a list of everything you want so they can make sure they have it set aside waiting for you when it comes out. They'll add it to their orders, adjust if they need to. But that's always the goal, is to help out your local comic shop so they not only have the books that you want and are popular, but you don't miss out on them. So we're going to continue in with some of the Marvel comics that are on FOC this week, and I am just beyond excited to go into those, because as soon as I can get that shared back on there, we will be talking about All New Venom. All New Venom has been really, really exciting if you guys haven't been keeping up with this, because we don't know who the All New Venom is. We are like 4 issues in. It has been selling out left and right. In fact, issue number 3 is about to get a second printing on All New Venom. But who is All New Venom? I mean, the cool thing about this is we finally get our answer in issue number 5. But as you can see, there's covers with the various suspects. Is it Madam Mask? Is it Robbie Robertson of the Daily Bugle? Is it Rick Jones? Is it Luke Cage? The one thing we can say is that, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's do this. Is that it will be revealed in this issue. By the end of the issue, you will know the name of the All New Venom. And there's a spoiler cover. That is awesome. The spoiler probably going to show us who that is. So I am excited to finally figure that out. That's been a hotly contested topic in my comic shop of who it is. My personal theory, and I honestly can say without having any knowledge ahead, I think it's Luke Cage, but I could be way off. I mean, Kyle, do you have any input on who you think is going to be the All New Venom?
Gwen Stacy.
It's always Gwen Stacy. Always.
I'll be honest though, you could make Gwen Stacy paint dry. The leader of a character where we watch paint dry, leader of a book where we watch paint dry, and I'd buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. As a Gwen Stacy fan for ages, when we got her back very briefly, I should say very briefly, we got her back permanently. As
TJ has a not bad guess.
I like that, Jeff. I'm all for it. We did see Jeff the Landsark with a symbiote. Maybe he's gotten a little bit more, skilled in how he uses it. That would be interesting.
But I would love to see the symbiote essentially create a new hero, right? I don't want it to be anybody we know it has been, but I want it to be a character we know. So again, it's Uncle Ben. It's somebody that has never really gotten the chance. Huh?
Uncle Ben has to stay dead. We've had everyone resurrect. We don't need Uncle Ben back.
But you know what I mean? Somebody who's never really gotten the chance to be a hero. but has always been around the Spider-Man stories.
I mean, Robbie Robertson, I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So moving on, you ready for a contest of champions that is a little abnormal, but far too familiar to Kyle, as he just competed in one of these, basically. We have the Concert of Champions.
I don't know that I competed in one of these.
You hosted one, basically.
It's true.
Or a concert of retailers, sort of.
It's true. If you've never seen Shannon live sing Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, you haven't seen Shakespeare the way it was meant to be played.
Yes, vice president of the Comics Pro board, as well as the co-owner of Bat City Comics. Shannon Live knows how to rock a mic.
Knows how to party.
Yeah, but one of my favorites is Dazzler rocking the mic. Dazzler had a very hot year last year when everyone theorized that the Taylor Swift was going to be portraying her in the Deadpool movie. Now, that didn't come to fruition, at least not within my eyes. Maybe she was hidden in the background or a deleted scene, but one way or another, it has been a year of hype for Dazzler, and now she is on the cover of several copies of this awesome-looking one-shot, The Concert of Champions, because just what we needed is a Contest of Champions spin-off dealing with rock star superheroes like Luna Snow, Leela Cheney, and of course, Spider-Gwen, one of the greatest drummers in the multiverse. Looks like there might be some first appearances in this, but otherwise, it's just going to be a fun, goofy book. So that has me quite excited. For those who are getting excited for the new Daredevil series that starts literally the day after this final order cutoff is due, March 4th, we're getting, the fun of coming back from Comics Pro. We all have that germ. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. It is coming out, it is final order cutoff the day before Daredevil Born Again hits Disney Plus. We have a brand new 3-issue miniseries by Charles Soule. Charles Soule, the man who brought us the Daredevil storyline that is drawing in to Born Again with the creation of Muse. It's Matt Murdock again, Steve McNiven on art. This is an all-star team for a Daredevil miniseries and a simple run at 3 issues. Of course, another one I am excited about. Lots of fun ones, lots of covers, I should point out. Deadpool having 1 million because we're getting ready for the April 1st with April Fool's Day. I don't know if you were aware that that Marvel has changed April Fool's Day to April Fool's Day in that fourth wall breaking sense. So there's a lot of great Deadpool covers that will be seen throughout March and leading into April. But one for me, I sadly do not own a Fantastic Four number 4. You know, the number one best comic to own from the 1960s. Some people might give it to like FF1, X-Men 1, Amazing Fantasy 15. No. Fantastic Four number 4 not only gives you that that triple F feel, it has the first Silver Age appearance of the greatest character in all of comics, Namor the Submariner, my personal favorite. So I am hyped to finally be able to own a copy of this, even as a facsimile. I'm probably going to buy a normal and a foil, and I might go crazy and get a 1 in 25. But this is an awesome one, which will lead into another topic we talk about later. But a really cool one that we are getting facsimiles once again of Fantastic Four number 1 through 12, that entire opening year of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, so we can read it like it's 1961. I've always been excited by this book. The only time I've ever held a copy, actually, it belonged to Stan Sakai. So it'll be cool. Once again, facsimile. This is one of the few times I am hyped on a facsimile. I mean, what is your biggest facsimile, Kyle? Like, is there anything that you own as a facsimile or want as a facsimile that would just excite you?
No, I don't.
Really?
But that said, I probably should. For instance, Fantastic Four 4. I have a Fantastic Four 4.
I'm impressed.
I have a full run of Fantastic Four.
I'm
but it's one of those things is that I should probably get a facsimile so I can, I don't know, read it rather than just know it's in the vault at the bank. It's excuse me. The thing about the facsimile editions for me is that they came at a time where I already had the trades, which is how I grew up being able to read these books, right?
Yeah.
Especially these mega keys like Action Comics, like Detective Comics. So you had to get a trade and read them. Well, now that they're doing single issue reprints, I think it's a worthy investment to grab them just for the whole, now I have one I can read. If you actually are lucky enough to have some of these books. If you're not, then there's no other way you're going to be able to own them likely that isn't mortgage your house, sell the car, rent out your organs for, scientific experiments kind of money. So I think it's a good way to be able to bring these amazing keys back into the hands of the reader. Yeah. So while I don't necessarily have any, I probably should.
No, absolutely. On that note, I am looking for a new bank. What was the address of your bank again, Kyle?
Right?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't even have access to that vault, man. I have to take both my dad and my grandpa to be able to access that safe deposit box.
One of these days, I'm going to come visit. We're going to do a big trip over there, and that'll be the last.
Yeah, you'll have to see the collection, man.
Yeah.
Steve Chappie once said, "It's not quite as good as mine."
I have seen Steve's incredible pieces on display in his former museum, and it is impressive.
Yep.
So what also is impressive is when two green giants go blow to blow, and we get that this week on FOC in Godzilla versus Hulk. Gary Dugan, Giuseppe Camuncoli, talk about a unique combo. Bringing the giant kaiju and the radioactive anger monster, to blow. I love this Scott Koblish cover just because I love the word. We're not in an era where covers always have dialogue. It's a very, very rare thing, but I love it because I could own just this cover and be happy. It is traditional Hulk, dumb dialogue, and then also complete contradiction of the dialogue in the background.
Which one is the giant radioactive anger monster?
That is the question, isn't it?
Right. No, is there any character having a bigger moment than Godzilla right now? Godzilla Heist was so good. Godzilla versus LA was so good. And then IDW putting all that money towards the victims of the fires.
Yeah,
we had Godzilla versus Chicago this week.
Yes.
That was incredible. Like, we're getting our first ever ongoing Godzilla book from IDW coming up. Like, there is
three ongoing Godzilla books.
Well, I was burying the lead a little, homie. Okay. But no, it's true. There is no character right now having a bigger moment than Godzilla. And unless we get Godzuki, I'm going to be a little frustrated, but I'm still going to be incredibly happy. I have a 11-year-old nephew who spent most of his life stationed in Japan with his parents who are in the Air Force. And he calls me at all hours of the day and night, like, because they're in England now, wanting to talk to me about Godzilla because he knows Uncle Kyle loves Godzilla. So we get to have these great conversations, and now I'm going to be able to send him a Hulk comic. I don't know if the kid's ever read a Marvel book, but now I can send him one because it has that introduction of Godzilla. So super fun, super great moment for a character that's been around forever and is being used. Of the public domain characters right now, it's one of the few I think that's being used properly.
Oh, wow. Is Godzilla public domain?
I don't know how everybody's getting to use it if it's not.
I believe it's a license deal with Toho where I definitely don't see.
Toho is being very liberal with the license, and they should be respected for that too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely love the fact that I can see Godzilla fighting in every publisher and everything. The cool thing about these ones at Marvel's, these are going to be one shots, and there's 6 of them. So he's going to be against Spider-Man, Hulk, Avengers, X-Men, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we've seen him fight the Power Rangers. We've seen him take on every city in America, including classic pieces like Gatsby, Dracula, etc., with his Monster Piece Theater at IDW. It is a year of Godzilla. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, coming off the year where he won an Oscar, like that's something I want to see a Marvel character win an Oscar. That's yet to happen. I don't believe.
I think when this book comes out, it counts.
Yeah.
If Corporal Klinger is a Disney princess, then Godzilla is a Oscar winner for Marvel.
Yeah. So remember, 6 incredible one-shots, and we literally have 8 amazing covers right there on Godzilla versus Hulk. So standalone issue, but definitely worth letting your retailer know which cover you want, because that's a lot of choices, especially if you want multiple. I mean, I might walk away with multiple covers. I mean, anytime Ed McGuinness draws Hulk, I need that version. But again, that Koblish word bubble is hilarious. I love the Lee Garbett, fight posters that you can see here. Everything about these are great. I
definitely ordered 3.
I wanted. Yeah.
So
next up, Helverine. Helverine is going to hell in the hardest way possible, because the leader of hell in the Marvel Universe is Mephisto, and it's Mephisto versus Helverine. That is really, really awesome sounding, as we're all hoping and waiting for Mephisto to break into the MCU, possibly with Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm excited about this spoiler cover, because spoiler covers normally have, well, shockingly, a spoiler on it. But it's a spoiler that normally people demand after the fact. They didn't realize they needed it because they didn't know what it was going into ordering it. So as retailers, we always underorder these things. As fans, it's best to get ahead of it. You know that Marvel 9 times out of 10 gets it right with those, and you want it. But we don't know what could happen in Helverine 5. Who knows? Maybe Mephisto starts dating Daken, Wolverine's son. It's a really cute cover of them out on their first date, exchanging hellflowers.
Maybe we get to meet Ben Vereen.
Ben Vereen, I like it.
I've been making that joke about Helverine way too long, and I will see myself out.
Another exciting one is Ironheart is getting a new miniseries called Bad Chemistry. It makes me feel like we should go to New Jersey and make a rock song about it rather than be in Chicago for this one. But John Jennings is back with Riri Williams' Ironheart. The same year, she's going to have a new Disney Plus series. We are finally getting some more stories about Riri Williams. This just looks great. I am excited to see classic Iron Man villains going up against the modern Iron Man spinoff in the way of Riri Williams. I've yet to have a bad Ironheart story, in all honesty. I don't want her to replace Iron Man, but I love her being beside and perhaps even eventually surpassing Iron Man. I feel they're very different characters, despite the fact that they are humans that are smart, rocking iron suits to fight crime. So it is really exciting to see a new Ironheart series while I still have my Iron Man accessible. Then we have to talk about the new boxes. I didn't think that a regular recurring concept on the FOC show would be Marvel art boxes. But when you have Jeff the Land Shark on your art box, I mean, one of the most popular characters in the new Marvel Rivals video game, one of the best things as far as Marvel Digital Comics content is coming out. My favorite creation in a list of favorite creations from Kelly Thompson, it's Jeff the Land Shark. I mean, I love that in the background of this live stream, there's a Jeff the Land Shark sitting on top of the short boxes. If we can actually make the browser disappear for a second to show that off. Jeff is. I should have Jeff in the background here. That is my Jeff actually in the background image of our background. But in the comic shop that we use as the backdrop, I love there's a Jeff the Land Shark sitting on top of the short boxes.
I would like to see our guest that's we're going to have in a few minutes take a pass at Jeff the Land Shark. I think that would be a very fun. I think that would be a very fun interpretation.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up Marvel shortly and have our guest on. But so let's be quick. Let's get back to it. Let's bring the browser back up. So yeah, big one. I think this is gonna be really big. If you guys didn't already, do incredibly well with previous boxes, the upcoming Marvel Rivals box I think will break records on Marvel graphic boxes. I think Jeff the Land Shark will then try and outdo himself twice. Speaking of that, we have the Marvel Rivals one shot. This was a digital first comic by Paul Allure and Luca Claretti, giving us the tale of the video game that everyone is playing. I had a customer actually come in and complain about I hate that Marvel Rivals is so popular, so all my friends are talking Marvel. He's obviously a big DC fan. He's like, I want a DC equivalent of Marvel Rivals so they can talk to me about obscure DC characters I know. But I had to stop and be like, no, all that matters is your friends are talking about obscure Marvel characters like Luna Snow and Jeff the Land Shark. That is beyond exciting. And I'm hoping all of those people who are playing the video game and want more will use this as their moment to come in and grab their first comic or their first comic in a while, fall in love with Marvel Rivals comic, and then say, I need to actually read about Jeff the Land Shark and West Coast Avengers, Luna, Snow, and Agents of Atlas, or others. Excuse me 1 second. But yeah, you gotta love, once again, the Comics Pro germ that went around. Everyone's kind of recovering. How are you holding up over there with that, Kyle? You seem to be sounding a lot stronger this week.
I have been leaving the mic muted most of the time, so you don't hear me dying.
Fair enough. The one nice thing about doing this show remotely is that we can all die separately. So another big one I have to talk about at Marvel. It is the 10th anniversary, and it's hard for me to believe it's been 10 years, but the 10th anniversary of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And I am ecstatic because 10 years ago, I thought it was odd that we were going to get this, spin-off of Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur, the old Jack Kirby creations. But I fell in love with her. I loved, her fighting Kingpin's daughter. I loved that entire comic series. And then we get this incredible cartoon series that came out of it that my son, my little boy, who's not even 10 years old yet, he's only 9, loves the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur cartoon. So now we get this awesome 10th anniversary special with which has one of my favorite writers ever, Justina Ireland, co-writing it. It has a crossover of who's who of the Marvel Universe. Everything about this is going to be awesome. A fun one-shot. I feel you can hand this to anyone, whether they're a long-time adult reader of Marvel Comics or they're new and they just love the character from the Disney cartoon. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur getting a 10th anniversary one-shot is brilliant. I love all the covers. I could not be more excited about a book that 10 years ago I was just so hesitant to even give a shot. So that is awesome. A lot of Marvel books. Once again, not a lot of time to talk about it. So one big thing I have to add on, I'm a big Namor fan. We finally have it. Yes. Namor the Submariner Omnibus. I love the Buscema cover. I want to point out there is obviously an incredible Gene Colan cover that's exclusive to the direct market. Awesome. I love direct market stuff. I love that they take care of it. But for me, that Namor Submariner #1 cover from 1968 is the iconic piece to have on that omnibus. And I love that this not only will collect those early Fantastic Four appearances, Daredevil appearances, where Daredevil first got his red costume, Avengers, X-Men, and Tales of Suspense. You're also going to be getting Submariner #1. It's weird that you're only getting Submariner #1 in the Prince of Namor the Submariner omnibus, but that has me excited for a volume 2 that will then actually get you 2 through whatever they put in. But really, really exciting to see that. I don't know that it looks like they didn't include Marvel Comics #1, so we're not going to get like his first appearance or any of the Golden Age stuff. But I'm not going to complain. It is exciting to see Marvel's greatest superhero and the first mutant get an omnibus. So a lot of exciting things continuing on with Psylocke, Spider-Boy. We're getting new reprints of Ultimate Wolverine with a new cover this time. And a lot continuing on. So check those out at previewsworld.com/finalorders2. But before we dive into Dynamite and the other incredible indie publishers at Previews World, I want to bring in our very special guest. We have a man who knows what happens beneath the trees where nobody sees. We have a man who is doing what we all want, putting billionaires in a battle pit to battle it out and allow us to take back their money. I have the great honor of introducing our guest, Patrick Horvath.
Hi.
Hey, Patrick, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you very much for having me on.
Okay, let me first ask, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yeah, Horvath.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a topic of debate now and then at the comic shop.
It's Hungarian, and it literally means Croatian in Hungarian. So I think my ancestors are from Croatia, and then they probably came to Hungary from the Ottoman Empire fiasco, and then they named everybody Horvath.
That's interesting. I love that we got a bit of history on the order.
It's a very generic name if you're in Jersey.
So are you from New Jersey?
Not at all. I grew up, my dad is, and then I grew up in Iowa.
All right.
Like
and
right
now
in
you're living in Los
Mississippi.
Angeles, correct?
Yeah, been in Los Angeles for the past 18 years.
Okay. So you've been in comics for a few years now. I want to say was your first book in 2019?
I think it was 2020 for interiors for Haha from W. Maxwell Prince.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I realized, I thought it was later, but I was looking and I saw I was actually doing research in 2019. So that was right before the pandemic happened. And then I started working on that probably at the end of 2019, maybe into probably like into 2020. And and that was the first time I'd been able to do interiors for anything that was published. The first thing I ever did for someone was interiors for it was 2014, and it was just a self-published anthology from Josh Trujillo called Love Machines, like way back when. And I was just getting started and randomly found a post on Craigslist. And he was so excited that somebody local could work on his stuff. And so anyway, it was a really great experience. And I mean, my art's changed so much since then, but that was it was a really great first, dip into any sort of comics, even if it was self-published. And then
you've been with this for over a decade though in the comic book industry. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, like it's definitely like I've been around and then doing pitches and stuff, but like also at the time still making movies and like little independent horror movies and then storyboarding and doing special effects and stuff for movies. And I honestly thought I was just going to be self-publishing my own little series before Beneath the Trees happened. And it was during that time that I did Free for All to show work of what current sequential work was that I could do, writing and drawing. And that ultimately came out. I think I'd finished it around like 2020. And then and some people had seen it, but not really anybody. It was only digital. And then it wasn't until I did a Zoop campaign for this that it finally came into print. And during the Zoop campaign, Oni reached out and was like, well, what's going to happen with Free for All? After the Zoop campaign, it's like, it's going to go right back on my hard drive. I don't know. Like, it was, I mean, we got it funded and all, but it was just like a couple hundred people that got it. So they're like, well, can we give it a home at Oni? I was like, oh, yes, yes, you may. That would be amazing. And so, that's kind of how it happened. So kind of incredible. I wasn't anticipating that, but Hunter really liked it, and everybody else at Oni's been terrific. So I'm super grateful.
So Free for All was written and drawn 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yes.
It's crazy how much more topical this book is.
Dude,
in the
it's
modern
nuts. It's as if I was like, oh, I'm going to put this together in the last like 5 months.
Yeah, that is amazing to discover.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, it's evergreen in the sense that we've always had income inequality, and a lot of it came out of my frustrations following the 2016 election. And it felt like a lot of the problems that we've all been dealing with were rooted in money. And so felt like this was my kind of cathartic Paul Verhoeven approach to what my take on what a utopia reverse of this could be. And again, like I love those sort of satirical Verhoeven, specific like RoboCop, Starship Troopers in particular, hyper violent, but also satirical in their execution. And I love them. So that was kind of my approach to it all. But it even like so when Hunter approached me at the end of last summer, I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then just in the past, like you mentioned, like 3 months, like everything has just been like supercharged in regards to just the frustration with this sort of elite billionaire class.
Yeah. So for those who, because we didn't get a chance to get to the solicit.
Yeah, we should probably talk about it.
let's talk about Free for All. So you want to give everyone the quick pitch of what Free for All is?
So it's the future, and it's a utopian society. We've figured it out. And there's universal health care, there's free education, subsidized housing, universal basic income, and because of that, civilization's been thriving. The way it's all funded is from a lottery that's only held for rich people. And if you're rich enough to qualify for it and get picked, then you have to donate half of your wealth to the World Welfare Fund that's funding all this. But you don't have to donate anything if you don't want to, but you have to fight to the death to keep it all. So you can either donate half or fight to the death. And my cynical mind was that there would totally be billionaires that would choose to fight to the death to keep everything. And that's essentially where it came from. So that's Free for All.
Yeah, I mean, I love the concept because it really does. It's like you found an actual solution to so many of the world's problems. And you see how, like, look, I mean, you don't need if you have $1 billion, you're set for life.
You'll never spend it. You'll never spend it all.
So if you have hundreds of billions of dollars, giving up half of that, not that big of a deal. But
yes,
there are billionaires that would say, no, that's
well, it's
my money, I earned it.
It sort of came about also from two different thoughts about the billionaire class. One of them is that there is no moral billionaire. Like, it's impossible to be a moral person and also be a billionaire. To amass that much wealth just seems sort of immoral in itself. The other one was the Warren Buffett and Bill Gates giving pledge, which I don't know if you remember that, but like around 2006, they were like, every billionaire should. They were making a pitch that every billionaire or whatever, I forget I think it was like billionaire, but should be donating like half their wealth. And in their mind, it was like the philanthropic, like we should be donating it to whatever we deem the thing, which is problematic in its own self. But that was the idea, though, that they should be giving half of their wealth back to the society and like civilizations that have basically given them this wealth, right? And so that was where the 50% thing just came from. I was like, what if it was that, but it was sort of enforced by this very deadly sort of punitive system of the gladiator fights.
Yeah. Well, so the thing I love about this, it is a self-contained, entirely done in one shot. So like this is the entire book right here. I have a rough cut version, but it comes out March 26th, and it's more than just this concept. Like that concept alone is enough to drive you to read it.
Sure.
But the story is really two people specifically fighting it out. So do you want to take a little bit about the characters on this? Is like, what led you to the two people who are actually going to enact this billionaire battle?
For sure. And it's and the first chunk of this book is very much like my gut reaction of like, this is what I would, this is what the people would want to see play out, etc. And as I kind of got into that, I realized that it would be very fun to kind of give more weight to the story, and that's when the character of Luella Dominguez came up. So we have the initial gladiator sort of reigning champions, Ted Brooks, and he's a real estate magnate, and is worth like trillions. And the thing is that his backstory is that he and his wife were actually partners in this, and then there is a growing sentiment that people in the future are starting to divest from their corporations because they don't really, need to have that much wealth because there's so much of a social safety net in the future. Having that much wealth is honestly like kind of becomes more of a problem to maintain it, etc. Like you can just live your life is essentially kind of what is growing sentiment. And so they decided to divest, well, at least like Luella did, and there's basically betrayal at the heart of everything, and then the ultimate fight of this book is pitting these two back together. Luella, who had to build her wealth back up to even get to the point of being qualifying for the lottery again, and then Ted, who's sort of kind of is like the most cold-blooded psychopath you can imagine, which is what makes for a great business person, I think. And so that's what the ultimate fight is for this, and what the ultimate backstory is. And what was fun is that there's like obviously a bunch more I could do with this. I have a tough time making it completely like sewn up, and it's a very satisfying book. But the world is like I could easily imagine revisiting this world, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But what's nice is I have, like you said, this little story that plays out, and it's it's a huge setting for such a small emotional thing, which felt very universal for people to sink their teeth into.
I mean, it is amazing how you can walk away from a one shot with an entire world I would love to return to. So when this is inevitably successful, any chance of a return?
I mean, yeah, if anybody wants to see more of this, I would gladly revisit. I feel like it would be a treat to, even if I was just writing or whatever. Although it is very fun to draw it.
All right, let me ask you the most dangerous question of this all, because God knows these billionaires are capable of making us all disappear. But if you could choose two real life billionaires to pit together, who's it going to be?
Well, what's wild is like, even in talking about this during that time, who it was it Zuckerberg and Musk that were gonna square off? Was that who it was? They were gonna fight. Do you remember that? They were like
jokes about like a fake battle.
It started off as like a joke, and then Zuckerberg kept like coming back to the table, being like, "I've been training, like let's do this. We're gonna." And so I feel like that was just like a natural. I can't imagine anything else outside of that now. So that was my. That would be my thing to see. But I mean, it's the thing that's actually like terrifying to me are more of them. Like I don't know. Like obviously we all know Musk, but like there's so many other, just like ridiculously rich oligarchs, etc., that I just am completely unaware of. And those are the ones that terrify me. Like I have a feeling that some of the most dangerous ones are probably ones I've never heard of.
Yeah. So who's going to wield what battle axe? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was really funny to have that, especially Ted Brooks, who's the reigning champion in this thing. He very much has like a sort of, I don't know, like a weird kind of code of honor with the whole thing. Is very antiquated. And I think also feeds into his mindset about like where he fits into all this, and how he's sort of like an Ubermensch type guy. So it's it's totally interesting. The weapons, etc., were very much a way to sort of get through that, especially in the first fight. It's it was it's fun, and there's a lot more fun things to be done with it, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It is an incredible book. You guys are definitely going to want it on your shelves or in your personal collection. So reach out to your local comic shop before Monday to order Free for All. It is out March 26th. Now, there's another one I have to talk about. It is The Secret, quite literally beneath the trees where nobody sees.
Mm-hmm.
You came into the world of comics with such a thunderous explosion of heat in 2023 with this. I was I was lucky enough to be one of the judges for the 2024 Eisners to help, talk about this, as every judge was like, this is a book that needs to go up for new series. And you guys were nominated very deservingly.
No, thank you. Yeah, I
This
appreciate
was a
that.
phenomenal series at IDW. I think it was a game changer at IDW with a large number of incredible books that were coming out from IDW that year to try and start a new creator-owned line.
Mhm.
This is the one that stood out by a mile. So it looks like you might be coming back to that
Yes.
universe.
Oh, most
Talk
definitely.
a little
Yeah.
bit about this.
Sure. So in your hand right now is the prequel. It's set in 1962 and has to do with Samantha as a young new graduate from college, backpacking through Germany, trying to find herself, and finds herself finally taking action. And doing something about the compulsions that she's been feeling that have been kind of tearing her up inside. That is going to tie into the new series that I'm doing, just a follow up. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring. It is actually takes place 8 years after our first volume, and we find same characters in Woodbrook, but now they're older. And Beneath the Trees, the first run was set in the 80s. So this is going to be set in the 90s. And with that comes the internet as a new thing, and also urban expansion, like suburbs expanding, land development happening, forests getting cut down to make room for housing developments, and big box stores that are driving out mom and pop shops like hardware shops. So the world's getting smaller, essentially, for Samantha. And that's the setup for it. So I'm neck deep in it right now, I'm happy to say, and I believe we're looking to have issue 1 coming out the summer.
That is awesome. All right. So really quick, just in case anybody somehow has missed Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, what is the quick pitch on this so they can go run to their local comic shop and order the trade paperback? If not, somehow maybe pick up the single issues if they're still hiding in.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can get your hands on them, get your hands on them. So Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees takes place in the quaint little town of Woodbrook, which is populated by a bunch of cute animal folks. Amongst them is Samantha the bear. She's a hardware shop owner, and she also happens to be a serial killer who has been thriving for the past couple of decades because she's smart about it. She doesn't do any of her killing in the small town. She does it in the big city that's further away. As it happens, there's a gruesome revelation that happens in town, and it brings a lot of unwanted attention to what Samantha has been up to, and she has to deal with it before the town figures out what she's been up to for the past couple of decades.
There it is. I mean, it's. I've heard comparisons of Dexter meets Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, yeah, that's apt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's definitely it's a horror book, but at the same time, I've been told that it's very palatable for folks that aren't into horror, and a lot of people like it's definitely found an audience much larger than I even thought it was going to find. I think folks might have an idea of what it'll be when they go into it, and will be pleasantly surprised that it's a little deeper and darker than they had thought. And so to me, the book has just been the gift that's kept on giving. Like I've been like, it's essentially given me a shot at a career doing comics. And for myself, coming from film, this has been a very much a hard left turn into just doing mostly comics now instead of on the side. And it's been wonderful. So I'm very much here for as long as I can be. Happy to be able to do as many books as possible now.
Yeah. And if you're somebody who fell in love with Beneath the Trees and you're loving everything Patrick is talking about, but you don't want to wait for this summer or even the end of March for his next books. He obviously has stories, as he mentioned, in Haha. You can grab the Haha trade paperback, which you did stories in issues 4 and 5, I believe.
No, just I did the issue 4, and then I think Gabriel Walta did 5.
Okay, I believe you was it a cover on issue 5? Was that maybe
Maybe possibly.
Okay. But another thing that you did just out last week was Creep Show and Love.
Yes.
So can we talk about that? Because right after you hear this, you're going to want to go to your comic shop and grab a copy.
Yeah, Creep Show and Love was Alex Anton from Skybound had been asking if I'd be interested in doing stuff, and because I'm basically jumping right back onto Beneath the Trees, I can only work on short form stuff, and he was like, "Oh, well, would you want to do Creep Show?" And so I was like, "Obviously, yes. I'm a huge horror fan. This is such a treat to actually have my own story in Creep Show." And then when he told me that it was going to be the February edition and that was going to be a totally new Creep Show and Love line, I was like very much on board for this. So this one's a 3-course meal, and it has I'm very grateful to be in one of them. My story is called The Cursed Casanova, and it basically takes the concept of the love potion number 9 and you know, a sort of unlovable, at least he thinks so, young man ends up doing a shady backroom deal to get his hands on this love potion. But it is so strong that you have to be extremely careful in using it. And of course, things go awry in the most horrific way. So I highly recommend checking it out. This was a ton of fun to do. And I don't know, it's such a specific tone for Creep Show stories. Like, it's not you can't do, you know, I guess maybe like Tales from the Crypt would be comparable, or EC Comics or whatever, but it's definitely, you know, such a fun little playground to be working in, that it's just a huge treat. So yeah, I highly recommend, if you're into any of my stuff, please check out Creep Show and Love. It was a blast to work on this one.
Awesome. So yeah, we've had a wonderful start to the year of Patrick Horvath so far. Is there anything else that you can talk about, or are we kind of locked up in silence on anything else that might be coming out this year?
I think that's it right now. But honestly, the big things were that's Free for All, and then it's just all hands on deck for the next Beneath the Trees, which I'm super excited about too.
So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that again in the future as
my God, yes.
Summer release.
Yeah, I would love to.
So now everyone's hooked on you. Where can they find you outside of the show? Where can, you know, the average fan track down more from Patrick Horvath?
Sure. I mean, listen, I found out that, especially after the social media diaspora, you can find me at patrickhorvath.com. Easiest way, and you can find socials for me on there. But you can also find me on Instagram it's at Catbird Planet. And then you can find me on X, Twitter, and Blue Sky at Patrick Horvath. And that's probably the best way. If you go on patrickhorvath.com, you can also subscribe to my newsletter, and that way you can always grab updates whenever I put them up straight to your email. And that way you don't have to worry about any algorithms, etc. So it's always a good way to go.
Yeah. Avoid those billionaire controls there, especially after Free for All drops, when he gets kicked off of all the social media.
It's going to get throttled.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Patrick.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. All right. Remember, Free for All. Get your orders in at your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Monday, so you can guarantee you will have this amazing book on March 26th. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. And we still have more to talk about. This is a crazy FOC week. We have to continue over at the World of Dynamite. I am so happy to see it once again on Previews World with more comic titles on FOC. And that means not only a mixture of Disney fun with things like Darkwing Duck, issue number 2, finally hitting FOC, but we have DuckTales, issue number 4. We have the Cartoon Network fun of Powerpuff Girls. It is crazy how many various properties that Nick Barucci has dragged over there, because we even have Terminators wrapping up its first story arc with issue number 6. The ones that I love, the 1980s, admiration going with Thundercats. But here's the big one. A lot of fun, a lot of covers, some top cover artists on there. Mark Spears across the board. But Vampirella hits issue number 1. Yes, we're getting Christopher Priest continuing his epic run on Vampirella with a perfect jumping on point on a brand new number 1 issue of Vampirella. The wonderful vampire from a whole other planet, Draculon. I'm hyped. I've been a fan of Vampirella as long as I've been reading comics. I mean, you have some amazing covers. Mark Spears, Elias Chatzodius, Greg Land. You get Faces by Raichi doing the cosplay cover. There's even a naughty, risque nude variant by Lucille Perillo. Like, everything about this is amazing. A million different versions of Mark Spears. So if you like mature, dark comics with those femme fatale, protagonists, this is a must-have. If you're loving your Disney, we still have the great Darkwing Ducks. I had to show off that Baldari cover, right up front because it is cute beyond belief. And we all know that various Disney ducks will always reign supreme, from Darkwing to DuckTales to Donald himself. Whew. Let's talk about indie books. Obviously, we have a lot from Oni. We had that interview talking about the new free-for-all, but Adventure Time, we're preparing you all for a new ongoing Adventure Time series with more compendiums from the Boom era. We have a number of manga that you can see by going to previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. A big one that I'm excited to talk about is Magma Comics' Day of the Dead Girl getting a trade paperback. If you haven't read AJ Mendez and Amy Garcia's absolute love letter to culture and, sequential art, this is brilliant. So you get all 4 issues combined in one trade paperback from 2 all-star writers, a professional wrestler, and an actress coming together to tell these brilliant tales. I am beyond excited for this one. I actually had the very great honor of meeting with AJ and Amy briefly at Comics Pro. I've never seen 2 women more fanatically excited about being part of the comic industry and sharing their story with everyone. Like, look, everyone's happy when their story gets published, but these 2 were fangirls. These 2.
Time out.
Yes.
At Comics Pro?
Yeah.
Or Comic-Con?
No, Comics Pro.
Comics Pro?
This Comics Pro. Sorry, Kyle. I should have dragged you over. I really should have.
I quit. I'm out.
Yep, that was the problem. I know I'm gonna get killed for this one. But they were both incredible women, and they just, all they wanted to do is talk about how great the story was, their cultural influences for it, how happy they are to get it in the hands of fans. And I mean, when you read the comic, you feel that too. This was a love letter of sequential artwork and is a brilliant tale. So reach out to your local comic shop, because I guarantee you this is one of those trades that will get under-ordered for not only the large fan base of these 2 women, but on top of that, just the brilliance of the story. So let your local comic shop know if you want a copy of Day of the Dead Girl. It is worthwhile. So, all right, I take it you are definitely the fan of AJ Mendez. Is that the case, Kyle?
Well, that was going to be what I was going to say about this book, is make sure you get it now. Because rumors about AJ's return to wrestling are swirling quite heavily. So you don't know when the next thing from AJ Mendez is going to be.
Yes. And I mean, also, if there is a big return to wrestling, the number of wrestling fans that often cross over with comics that will then be demanding this. I also think the single issues, if you can track them down in the store, are worth picking up. Help alleviate your local comic shop of any excess back issues they may have, because that could be the rare skyrocketing aftermarket treat if AJ returns to the ring. Or just whenever we see Amy's next big role on film, too. Obviously, we have Dune, House of Atreides trade paperback. This is going to be for you retailers having to order one of your first available Boom FOCs at Penguin Random House. For you as the customer, I'm sure it's not going to be much of a change. You will see the book on its release day. And if you haven't been reading Dune, you want to grab these trades because we're obviously waiting for Dune Movie 3 or the second season of Dune Prophecy. This goes back and tells us a wonderful tale of young Leto Atreides way before he ends up on Arrakis. And it is the birth of his son, Paul, the protagonist of the Dune novel and films. Really, really great story there. Actually, I apologize. I should state House Atreides, trade paperback number 3 will be before the birth of Paul Atreides, but it will lead to that. That will be the House Carino trade paperback that's going to give us the birth of Paul. So let's talk about Free for All. Obviously, we just talked about Free for All a good bit, but I want to show off all of these amazing, amazing covers. One of these covers, let's see if you can figure out which one will end up in our top 10, and you'll have to guess where it is too. But I'm going to show you that beautiful A cover once again and remind everyone to get your orders in. This is a standalone one-shot, which literally has billionaires battling it out in a gladiatorial pit. It is bloody. It is action-packed. It has a hint of Idiocracy with some brilliant Brave New World and just everything you want. Because personally, for me, I love Patrick's idea of Musk versus who does Facebook? We're gonna get banned from Facebook by saying his name, Zuckerberg. I just want to see Jeff Bezos versus who's the guy who owns the majority of Montana?
Kelly Clarkson?
What was it?
That was a bad joke. Kelly Clarkson has a large farm in Montana.
I didn't know that. No.
I don't know. Warren Buffett?
No, not Warren Buffett. I want to say it was major media mogul empire. But somebody in the comments.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be interesting to watch billionaires battle it out because some, I imagine, are going to have some surprising strength and, some secret twists. And then there's going to be a few who just, curl up and cry. Either way, I'm down for that. Free for All, beautiful covers. Once again, Horvath, Matt Kent, Gabriel Ba, Lesniewski, and Bailey all doing stunning covers. And as always, you can see all of these items that are on Final Order Cutoff on previousworld.com/finalordersdue. Quick shout out to Jump Scare number 2. That issue number 1 from Cullen Bunn was a surprise seller that was in high demand this past week. And hopefully that is the case in your local comic shop. So we should all order up big on number 2 because it's Cullen Bunn. He, is the most prolific writer in comics, I feel, in the modern era, and he just knows how to do horror. It's funny, at Comics Pro, he was a guest, and I saw him just writing away in between anything. He just sitting on his computer, scripting everything out, because, he has to. If he's not writing 24/7, I don't understand how he can have 2 to 3 comics a week, every week of release. And still, one of the most jovial human beings. Very, very wonderful for his dark horror mentality.
So he came up to Jen and, gave her a hug and was like, "It's nice to meet you in person." And Jen and I had a moment like, she's definitely met you in person. But it just turns out, no, we've just interviewed Cullen and talked to him so much. We feel like we know him so well, but we'd never met him in person.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's cool. We love Miss Jen, and I love that Cullen is just such a wonderful guy. I actually had a really fun one where he was thanking me one time for coming up and asking his autograph. And we had pre-planned this autograph, but he's like, "Oh yeah, I just get fans all the time." But no, he's wonderful. I think just such a delightful and amazing writer, and yet writes some of the darkest things in comics. Well, Patrick, we just saw. Patrick, wonderfully jovial and amazing, talented, beyond belief man who easily has a career in cinema and, writes the darkest things in comics. You got to love it. So let's leave Previews World and take a look at what's at DC. And to do that, we go to lunardistribution.com. Once again, you'll be faced this wonderful website. You'll scroll down to upcoming FOC, Final Order Cutoff, and make sure you're checking the right day. This is for comics on Monday, March 3rd, 2025. And let's talk about a big one. Absolute Universe titles have been some of the biggest releases in the past year, from Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We have Flash coming up that we already finalized, but let's talk about the Absolute Martian Manhunter. Kyle, I know you have opinions on this. Denise Camp, let's talk.
Well, I'm a really big fan of Dennis Camp, but beyond that, Martian Manhunter is one of these characters that I think there's a level of familiarity that fans of a certain era have with Martian Manhunter that other eras of fans don't, right? And then you had his appearance in the Supergirl show, right? Where there was such an interesting take on him there, that to have this version of him come out now is a great way to sort of reintroduce the hype around what was once, in my opinion, the coolest character DC had to offer. The least campy, the least, what's the word for it? The least underwear on the outsidey character they had on offer, right? Martian Manhunter was always complex, and his origin was always so depressing and dark and interesting that to reintroduce him this way, written by Dennis Camp, could, in a way, bring a new level of bring a new group of readers into the story and into DC Comics, because Dennis isn't going to shy away from the complexity. And on so many levels, the things that the Absolute Universe has been doing well is leaning into the simple complexities of the DC Universe. Batman is a simple character, but that simplicity is caused by incredibly complex feelings and emotions and history. Well, that's what the Absolute Universe does well. So I think letting Dennis Camp have a run at Martian Manhunter with this is just a no-brainer.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say this is a total psychedelic, twist on what I'm used to with Martian Manhunter. I will always love the the John Ostrander run, but this is unique. It is less of a detective story, more of a unique family story, and yet has like these awkward psychedelic twists to it that I was not expecting. That it feels almost like a crazy drug trip of a tale. But I mean, you're talking about a man who's also writing one of the more popular comics at Marvel right now over in the Ultimate Universe. Now you're getting him to do one of the big ones in the Absolute Universe. He is going to be a powerhouse figure to be talked about when writing one of the top Marvel and one of the top DC books, as well as an upcoming Image book. This guy is going for the hat trick. So this is going to be a big one. I don't think it should be slept on. I think you should reach out to your local comic shop retailer and tell them I'm all in. I want this Martian Manhunter. We also have, of course, the Absolute Wonder Woman coming forward. I mean, if you're not reading what is, in my opinion, the best of the Absolute titles, I will always find opposition with the Absolute Batman fanatics. And look, I'm loving every Absolute title. I've had the honor of already reading Absolute Flash, the ending on that. Whew. Absolute Martian Manhunter, great. I'm loving Superman. Batman is, as I said, solid, but Absolute Wonder Woman, that is the keystone for me. That is just beyond belief. And we have some brilliant covers. Once again, Sean Gordon Murphy, Jenny Frisson, Joshua Sway. There's a ton of fun on this. And one of those covers is definitely in my top 10. Again, you're going to have to try and see if you can beat me on which one you think it is and which position. But the one that we've all been waiting to talk about properly, and I didn't get a chance to talk about one of the covers that was on FOC last week with our skip week, is Batman 158. Batman's Return of Hush, Hush Volume 2. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee are back, and this is, I think, the best Batman will ever sell. Jeff Loeb made a joke at Comics Bro where he had said, Jim Lee is responsible for the highest selling comic, which was X-Men #1 back in the 90s with 8 million copies, and Jim corrected him of 8.1 million copies. But Jeff wants to have a piece of that. He wants the new highest selling one. And I think they set themselves up for it. Not only is Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb returning to Hush a huge thing, Jim Lee interiors on a comic. My God, when was the last time we had that? Superman Unchained? But look at how many covers there are. There are like 1.5 million covers, or in all reality, at least 13 covers of Batman 158. Not 608. 608 was the original, though there is variants that are ratioed at 608 to have that nod. But I remember very vividly, and it's weird to think of that was around 22 years ago when Batman Hush came out. Just the feeling in the comic shop was a whole other electric thing. It was one of the first comics I remember getting a new printing where they had a brand new cover and everyone having to get each of the new printings. It changed things. I mean, you clearly were around and alive for Batman Hush, Kyle. Like, what was your feeling at the time, and what is your feeling now for Hush 2?
The B cover was better than the A cover.
Which was a rare concept in the early aughts, let's be honest.
Right. And I remember that was the first time I ever thought, oh, there's a difference. Like, just in terms of my recollection of it, I remember going to my local comic shop going, wait a minute. Well, why is this one cooler than that? What is the difference? And I asked my retailer, and he's like, just different covers. I'm like, well, I want them both. I wasn't working in a comic shop at that time. I was in high school. And I was just going on Wednesday after school to the shop and picking my stuff up. And it was, I don't remember necessarily the hype around it, but I remember getting it and going, oh, well, this is a fresh, refreshing moment. This is a great shot in the arm for this. And that was really it. But then as I got older and I reread Hush, I recognized that, 5 years difference in age, 5 years difference in life experience, like you would have read Hush differently. And then as I got a little bit older and, reread it and then started selling it when I got my shop. The thing about Hush that made Hush great was that it hit you where you lived. And it was relatable in a way. And that's just the genius of Jeff Loeb. You see that in everything Jeff Loeb does. So my feelings about Hush Part 2 or the Return to Hush or whatever is that I hope it has that same magic. Right? That it can hit you where you live. It can mean something different to everybody at all different age groups. So that young kids can read it and be like, this is just a cool superhero story. And older people can read it and be like, man, like this is speaking to me on a couple of levels. So.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And one of the interesting things they're doing, because this definitely feels much more commercialized this time around, but an exciting moment for me is the giant size special edition. And this is definitely something you're going to want to talk to your local comic shop about. Because they'll probably get a large amount of crazy and awesome covers. But the giant size special edition is going to be 11 by 17, which means it's original art size. It is going to be the size of the actual artwork Jim Lee drew it at. And it's going to be big, which that's bigger than a treasury size. I don't know how to bag and board an 11 by 17. That'll be an interesting dilemma I'm going to face. But there will be an alternate way you can buy this comic at $15. You can buy the 11 by 17 size, super big issue. I don't know how DC is profiting on selling an 11 by 17 size comic at $15, but cool. As the local comic shop, as the customer, I will take advantage of that because the comic shop will make money and the customer will make, a very great experience having that. And you can see the comic at its full size. The other weird thing spinning out on it, not all stores will qualify, but stores will be given the opportunity if they order an ungodly amount of copies to order the launch party ash can. So expect these at varying prices. Reach out to your local comic shop to see if they're getting them and what they're charging for them. But there will be a launch party ash can where you can preview issue 159 as a little tiny ash can. And that's another super awesome thing, especially when you look at that Jim Lee cover with Batman and Joker on the ground and Jason Todd standing over him. A lot of crazy covers. Definitely reach out to your local comic shop. Let them know what covers you want. See if they're going to get some of the ratios or unlockable covers. There's a lot to be had with this, so it's best to communicate with your local comic shop and see what the pricing will be, etc. But there's a lot of fun to be had with that. Speaking of, we have Jeff Loeb continuing the long Halloween with the last Halloween and some great covers there. I like that we got Joyce Chin doing an awesome cover. Black Canary. I mean, you're excited about Black Canary, right? Have you've been reading this, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
The thing about the Black Canary book is it's the only DC book I'm reading that doesn't start with the word absolute. And it's such a departure from that, but it is so Tom King. I don't know that any book has ever Tom King as hard as this book, Tom King's. It has all of that. What was Tom King's indie book? The Savior of Baghdad. The book he did, the indie book he did before he got Batman.
Yeah.
That talks about his time working for the government. It has a lot of that sort of almost Titan-ish true crime noir, femme fatale sort of feeling to it. And I think that's a great way to represent the Black Canary. Like, a lot of people only know Black Canary from Legends of Tomorrow. And that's not a bad representation, but it really isn't all the Black Canary is. This is much more of the traditional pulpy mystery with a pretty lady as the lead.
The classic Dinolands.
Yeah, very classic. And Tom King is doing a hell of a job. It feels grounded in reality in a way that I don't know that I've seen a Black Canary book feel in a while. And at the same time, it still has that sort of over the top. This is still a DC book. There's no way you can move like that kind of feeling. So.
Yeah, no, it is exciting and it is action packed, which is not something I'm used to with a lot of the Tom King miniseries. So that is really, really cool. Again, we're seeing a lot of great things from Image and other publishers now appearing in Lunar Distribution, which, is exciting to have options. You don't have to choose just Diamond. We have Lunar as an availability if you were the person placing the orders. Of course.
Far Down Below looks interesting.
Yes.
I don't really have any knowledge about it or anything interesting on it. I saw that it was Chris Canton.
Yeah.
I will read this. I'm sure it's on my Mad Cave Hub. I just haven't gotten a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. The idea of exploring a haunted house that has a secret tunnel that exists beyond or beneath the town you're living in. And Chris Condon definitely can scare the crap out of me with this. So, it is one of those. This wouldn't exist in like the 2010s, 2020s. This is a 1980s story at its heart.
Right.
All the more fun, for those of us who were around for that to return to that era, or for those that have never been around to find this escapism in the, oh my God, almost half a century ago. I didn't say that on live stream. Whoops.
Well, and if you're not seeing that going, secret tunnel.
Yes.
Secret tunnel.
Connecting those two lovers.
Yeah.
It's a very unique group that also remembers that Avatar reference.
It's true.
So, as we're talking Mad Cave stuff, you got to love Gotcha Man 8 finally getting us the Princess Blueprints cover. I am loving everything about Cullen, writing a not, horrific series in the way of Gotcha Man. This has been amazing. Green Arrow and Green Lantern Continuing on with some of the best covers. Harley Quinn, just, I don't, you know, I mean, whether you're reading the book or just collecting the covers, has some of the best covers across the board. I cannot tell you how many customers I have in my shop that are like, I want every cover on Harley Quinn, and I'm certain I am far from alone on that. But this book, great writing, goofy concept, and just stunning covers every issue, going on nearly 50 issues of just way too much amazing. Justice League Unlimited. You know, it's funny, actually. I was just thinking about how our opening explanation of how Final Order Cutoff work, I used the example of Justice League Unlimited, and we're now on issue 5. So I think if we hit issue 12 of Justice League Unlimited, I might have to re-explain that FOC video. But this has been a fun one, a huge one falling out of the DC All-In one shot that created the Absolute Universe. We're seeing the big story in the main universe in this tale, and issue after issue has been some of the best Justice League since, I want to say, since Grant Morrison. By the way, if you guys missed those Lucky Devil Jenny Frison covers, I can now show you that. This is still not the finalized version of the artwork, but you're seeing the layers of it there, and Jenny Frison doing the popular art that she does. This could be a really cool one, whether you missed the first 2 printings of Lucky Devils or you just want an awesome cover. Mad Magazine continuing on. We just don't get to bring up Mad Magazine enough, so I have to state that. But this is one that has me excited. Peacemaker presents the Vigilante and Eagly double feature. This has a story by James Gunn. Yes, this preps you for season 2 of Peacemaker. It is the Peacemaker TV show version of those characters. And it's literally James Gunn writing a comic, along with the incredible Tim Seeley, Rex Ogle, Mitch Gerards, and Matteo Loli on art. Everything about this is exciting. If you love the Peacemaker TV series, I don't know why you wouldn't want this awesome book, especially to prepare you for season 2. But man, James Gunn writing a comic, I didn't think I would ever see the day. Like, you've watched the Peacemaker season 1, right?
I actually didn't.
I'm going to tell you, I'm forced to binge this while you're, recovering.
I had huge issues.
Really?
And yeah.
11 by 17 size issues?
No, I just couldn't see the guy playing Peacemaker.
Oh.
That is a wrestling joke that if you don't get, then I can't help you. Yeah. No, the thing, it hit me at a time when I really didn't want goofy superhero.
Yeah.
I was really like, I need something kind of more serious. And where I was kind of disenfranchised with DC as a entertainment property holder. So the plan is to watch all of season 1 right before season 2.
I'm hoping you will enjoy it. I thought it was amazing. It completely caught me off guard, kicked me in the pants, and sent me flying down this love, because I own the original Peacemaker's first appearance. I'm not going to act like I'm the hugest Peacemaker fan, but, I loved my old Charlton stuff. And, like, I remember Vigilante from, Wolfman and Perez. These weren't my favorite characters, but they were characters I could enjoy. And
and that's the other,
completely reinvented them in ways that I cannot stop laughing about.
That's the other thing, is that I love Amanda Waller as a character.
Yeah.
So I know that she is a prevalent character in season 1.
Yes.
So I may have to watch season 1 before Waller debuts.
Yes.
So that's kind of, at this point, like, I've heard so many good things about it. I'm worried it can't live up to what I've heard, but at the same time, like, I'm going to watch it before I have to start watching something that I will have missed.
Yeah, I once again, I hope you enjoy it. I think it's just beyond belief hilarious. So I am super excited to check out this 5-issue mini. I wonder if we'll have James on all 5 issues. That'll be the very interesting part. So continuing onward, we have Power Girl. always doing great there. And a return of Radiant Black, continuing on with issue 32. The big one I want to address comes towards the end, though. Superman. Superman is getting ready for an insane year. It'll be the year of Superman as far as DC is concerned, with the Superman Day, our first Superman Day properly. You know, we've had Batman Day for a number of years. We even had a Harley Quinn Day, but we're going to have a Superman Day. Lunar is offering retailers a chance to some great extra discounts and deals on stocking trade paperbacks and getting, you know, all sorts of incredible freebies or, you know, discounted items to do a Superman Day. I should never say freebies because, you know, for many of you guys as consumers, we love Free Comic Book Day and it seems really awesome that we're getting free items, but the retailers are always taking the, you know, the hit on the chin along with the publishers of paying for those items that they get to hand out for free. So always worth grabbing a trade paperback or a single issue on there. But Superman, going to have a big year. And Joshua Williamson is doing one of my favorite books in the main Superman title. We have been having all sorts of fun on this. And this issue with its many amazing covers will continue that awesome run. But I want to show off that David Nakayama solo color piece. David Nakayama has become quite known in doing exclusive covers and regular release covers with this style. I only wish that there was a foil option, but a lot of fun to be had there. And there's some of the stuff you can see for the Superman Day that you should talk to your local comic retailer and see if you will have, because obviously we get a Golden Age reprint of Action Comics #1, the classic, foil, blank, and a new cover. Same with All-Star Superman having traditional foil and blank options. There are a ton of things to get you ready for Superman Day. So reach out before Superman Day to see if your local comic shop will be participating, what the prices will be, what will they'll have, and how you can join in and have part of the fun. A lot to be said there, but we will end this all with Wonder Woman 19, part of Tom King's epic run. A ton of amazing covers. This will be releasing during Women's History Month, so all the more reason to partake and grab one of the most wonderful women in comics. This is, you know, after the birth of her daughter, everything that's been happening with her significant other. Diana's having a bit of a run of things, so Wonder Woman 19, definitely worth your attention. If you haven't been reading this, I'd reach out to your local comic shop, see if you can get caught up, whether through trade paperbacks or single issues. It is a fun one. But I realize we have been running for 2 hours. We need to cut to our top 10. Let's discuss the biggest things on this Monday, March 3rd's FOC. And we're going to lead it up with some hot covers and big books. Starting at number 10, we have Absolute Martian Manhunter. I had to point out that beautiful B cover of Gillian March that shows the dichotomy of our John Johns and the Martian Manhunter right there. We hit issue number 9, the incredible Faith Aaron Hicks cover on the Mummy. As somebody made the joke about unwrapping, that is really nice. I loved having the what is it called? The stuff they wrap on the Mummy. My son would make a toilet paper joke, but it is
muslin.
Muslin. There you go. Ooh, this is why we keep the ultra educated Kyle around for such terms. But I love that in the background there. Absolute Wonder Woman. Now, this is a weird one. This is the first time I've done a ratio variant as our top 10. So reach out to your local comic shop. Not all comic shops may get the ratio variants on this, and they will be varyingly priced depending on your local comic shop. But this is my favorite moment of Absolute Wonder Woman, is young Diana collecting all these beasts that were sent to kill her and then becoming her friends. So Dustin Nguyen doing this beautiful, beautiful 1 in 25, you know, of young Diana in hell. Awesome cover. Number 7, Matt Kindt, writer extraordinaire and also an artist, well, I want to remind you, doing this cover for Patrick Horvath's Free For All. I think Free For All is going to be a highly talked about book. It will be up there with his popularity of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, but throwing in a unique Matt Kindt cover that is very unique and fitting for it, like it's an actual promotional poster for this billionaire battle, makes it all the better. Then we get David Nakayama doing the Harley Quinn 49 cover. Anytime an artist does those like choose your fighter video game screens, I end up saying, all right, let me get my wallet out. How much money do you want for it? But this is great. You get like a little bit of everyone from Gotham and then wonderful Nakayama cover and the new Harley Quinn costume. Not that David hasn't drawn it like 5 times already, but beautiful. Let's get to the top 5. Here it is. J. Scott Campbell doing the first issue of Hush. I mean, as if like Batman Hush original issues, like 608 through 619, didn't have some unbelievable covers that go for a good amount of money. J. Scott Campbell doing this, you can't knock it. This has like every key moment of the original Hush, from the villains and villainesses. You have the skull of Jason Todd. This has everything I need to be hyped into Hush 2. Number 4, one of the hottest artists out there right now doing covers, Mark Spears, doing the Vampirella #1. There's actually 4 different versions of this cover, and even more when you have virgin, black and white, but I love the various coloring. This is the open order, easy to get C cover. Mark Spears, Vampirella #1. And then number 3, there's no image. We cannot see it, but you know this spoiler is going to reveal to you who the all-new Venom is. Finally revealed in issue 5. Get the cover that says it. I know there's a cover showing all of the potential Venoms. Maybe that's all just red herrings, and he's none of those. But one way or another, this cover will reveal, in my opinion, the actual Venom. And that's going to be the one everyone wants. So make sure you pre-order. This one has me excited. Marvel Rivals, everyone's playing it. Hopefully this drives a ton of people into the shops to pick it up. This will be a big book. But one of the cool things in the Marvel Rivals video game is the character Galacta. Galacta is the daughter of Galactus, and she is our narrator in the video games. She was created in a Marvel Assistant Editor Month special by Adam Warren, one of my favorite artists. Adam Warren is returning to the character to draw this specific cover. Even though he's not doing any of the interiors, it is so cool to see Adam Warren doing Galacta again on an official Marvel book. So that, mixed with all of your other favorites from Marvel Rivals, including Jeff the Land Shark, this is the cover to get. This is going to be big. But number one this week is We're Taking Everyone Down With Us. Matthew Rosenberg has put together a book that I want to put in every one of my customers' hands, that it is age appropriate to read it. I think this is brilliant. I think it is funny. I think it is dark. I think this cover by Mathias Lewis is incredibly emotional and a hard drive. I really hope that you guys read interviews, check out previews, and decide you want We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, and you reach out to your local comic shop and say, I need every issue of We're Taking Everyone Down With Us in my pull box, in my subscription box, my pull list, whatever your local comic shop uses for terminology. I need this book. Get my pre-order in. This is going to be hot. And that cover by Ulysse, just beautiful beyond belief. So that is my undoubted, unquestionable number one for the week. I hope that Kyle agrees with me on it. I know that he was very, very much, fighting me of like absolute, Martian Manhunter and Bitterroot belong on the list. And he's right, but I have to limit it to 10. And this is
this is maybe his best work yet.
Yes.
I think this is the best thing he's done. So this is absolutely number one.
Yeah. So that is an awesome one. I thank you guys all for joining us. We will be back next Friday for all sorts of more fun with a new guest to interview and all sorts of new books on Final Order Cutoff that week. But before
I may not be here, but somebody will be.
Yeah, Kyle will hopefully be off doing something really fun and enjoyable as he takes a day off. But Kyle, can you remind us
from surgery
on the foot surgery? It's the funnest part.
Yeah. So later today, Later today, here on the EXP, Nikki will be back with the original art show. He has Jay Lee covers from Vampirella and Mars Attacks, or Red Sonja Mars Attacks. He has Mannix covers. He has all kinds of great art for the art show later. Then Nancy McCann, who's been doing this for a long time, will be here Friday Night Live from Comics Unlimited in Cleveland, Tennessee. She will be joining us. Then Monday, we will be back with our full slate of shows, including comic collectibles from Dynamic Forces and Best Coast Comics.
All sorts of exciting things, easy ways to part with your money. Right now, use the moment to reach out to your local comic shop with a list of all the books that you just saw us talk about, or that you flipped through on Previous World or Lunar, and let them know what you want, what covers you want, how many copies of Vampirella #1 you need, because it's 23, right? 23 copies. But then tune back into the experience, buy some awesome original artwork or some other amazing back issues or hot variants and key issues with Nancy and others throughout the week. I'm looking forward to the return of Minute to Skim It on Tuesday.
Yeah, we had a good show this past week, but we will be back next week. I will be reading, and we will have a lot more books to read hopefully next week. So,
all right. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in and watch it. Please remember, share this on all of your social media so all of your other friends who love comics or might one day love comics can see the Comics on Final Order Cutoff. Share with your retailers so they can, not have the burden of having to tell everyone about all the books. We're taking that off their shoulders. Get this out there so people know what's coming up. Some amazing books that you want to order before Monday, 6 p.m. each week on FOC.
See you next time.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.